Okay, my name's Zakashi, guys, and in this video here we are going to be going into the best teams of the month. I purposely waited until the start of the new month because there's obviously going to be a new unit that dropped, and that new unit being Legends Limited Nappa Revival into Vegeta for the Saiyan Saga / 100 million user campaign. It's already May, which means we are under a month away until the anniversary starts. This video is regarding the whole of April, but pretty much it's going to be continuing, so basically what the meta is right now. Before I get further into this video, I want to emphasize that there's no order to this video, so any team on this list can be any team on this list. If you want to order it, feel free to do so in the comment section below, but like I said, any team can beat any team, so the 5th team could beat the 1st team. I'm just putting it out there to give people a good idea of what teams are most popular and most viable right now in the PvP meta. That's all I've got to say. Down below as well, might as well just let me know how many Chrono Crystals you've got. We're still saving for the 6th anniversary. It's going to be a big deal. The meta should shift a lot, and hopefully they drop some interesting units. I ain't got anything else to say. Let's get straight into this video now. Right, so we got the first team here. We're going to be discussing Saiyans, and just because this is the first team for the video skippers doesn't mean it's the best team. There's no order to this list, so just bear that in mind as you go through. Saiyans here, very popular team. A lot of people love the units on the team, and I want to say they spiked in popularity specifically recently for a couple of reasons. 2 of them being that Ultra UI's banner rerun and also Bardock and Goku's banner rerun. So that's 2 good reasons to have these units and be running this team. But the team does have a lot of good pieces, which I'll be showing you guys right now. So this is the This is the Saiyan team that I've been running, but it pretty much is Sun Family at the same time. This is the same team I've been running. You can see UIs on the leader slot. We got Bomku from GT, and we also got Bardock and Goku, who cover 2 elements. I've got Bardock and Goku triple Zenkai buff, and then Bomku's getting 2 Zenkai buffs. Ultra UI, I would Zenkai buff him, but on my team he's 14 stars, so I'm just grateful for that. But there's not this is not the only composition that you can run. There's lots of others that you could run. So let's look into the character list, and then we'll pretty much go through everything, and I'll show you what is pretty much most viable. So we'll go by element. Looking at the ultras, pretty much if it's not Ultra UI, I wouldn't run any other Saiyan on leader slot. Personally, Ultra UI is like the best counter to the meta right now, where there's lots of purples, especially because of Ultra Golden Frieza and all his allies, Nappa and Vegeta, etc, etc. So mainly just UI in terms of the ultras. Let's look at the sparkings now. Let's start at blue, right? In the blue section, Bardock and Goku is going to be one of your go-tos, and I'd also say Bomku's a go-to. If you have the Super Saiyan Goku, I don't think he's that great, but maybe if you have him at like 14 stars, and that's a high star margin, then go ahead, but I wouldn't recommend. And any of the other blues are pretty much just stinkers. There are obviously Zenkai buffs, but I already showed you some of my team, like Nameku is a good option. Going into greens, Pycon could be a good option, like dead serious. Revival Sign, I'd say definitely, depending on your stars, try get him to like 10, 9, 10. I have him at 14, and even at 14 he can be quite glass. And Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, very good option for Saiyans as well. I'd say those 3 are probably the best options for Saiyans, if I'm being honest. Going into purples, pretty much just go Frieza, but I wouldn't necessarily run a purple. Nappa and Vegeta, I almost forgot about them because I don't have them. But Nappa and Vegeta are obviously a good option, but besides from that, nobody else really. I wouldn't run Gold Frieza if I was running Saiyans, but it is an option that you have there. Going into yellow, I wouldn't recommend anybody, but depending on how you wanted to go to the equips, I guess Super Baby 2 could fit your leader slot because he does have the Saiyan tag. But obviously, I've already got UI, which is the main force. You could obviously Zenkai buff him with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I'm talking about UI. Then you also have LF Bardock. I don't have him 7 stars, so I don't have the Zenkai, but he is a Zenkai option that you might want to consider for your team. Then also, if we go into reds, I think the reds are just not good options, I'll be honest. Like, I guess Super Vegeta is here, but are you really going to run Super Vegeta? I don't think people are going to try to run him. He doesn't even buff Saiyans, so I would avoid him. But I guess if you really wanted to run a red, you could put him on the leader slot and he would work out. So yeah, that's pretty much Saiyans. As you can see, Saiyans is a pretty much good team if you're running green, blue, green, or green, blue, and then you want to slide in a yellow option. I say Saiyans pretty much avoids purple and red, but you do have options for it, even though they're not the best. Besides from basically Nappa and Vegeta, if you wanted to run them on this team, it would definitely work. But yeah, that's the first team we got for this video. We got Saiyans. If you want to run them, I'm sure you'll get very far doing so. Number 2 on this list, and actually one of the most popular teams in the game right now, we've got Sun Family. Now, Sun Family is basically Saiyans, and I low-key leaked it earlier, but it's alright. We got Sun Family number 2. It's basically Saiyans with a few extra additions. and we're pretty much avoiding Vegeta. So yeah, it's not that Vegeta was making the team for the most part, But you know, if you wanted to run Nappa and Vegeta, then it kind of changes things. So cool, what I've got here, I've got Ultra Gohan leader slot, I've got Bardock and Goku, and I've got Ultra UI. You kind of have to decide if you want Ultra UI or Ultra Gohan on the leader slot, and I went for Ultra Gohan because he's lower stars. I think he needs the buffs more. Then I've given everybody here a single Zenkai buff. I think this guy buffs hybrids. If he buffs Son Family, then that would be better for Bardock and Goku. They would get it too, but he doesn't. So everybody's got a single Zenkai buff on my team. Obviously, I'm avoiding a HP buff, but depending on how you wanted to run it, depending on your stars, factors will change. But it's not the only team you can run, so let's look at the other options. I've seen a lot of people running Feet Crew, and I'll talk about that in a second. But let's go into the Ultra options. So in the Ultra options, you want to be running UI and Ultra Gohan. They're like the best two options if you're running Son Family, I'm not going to lie. They make the team really what it is. The Ultra UI is insane. You know how he stops you from being able to switch out, and his dodging factors allow him to burn down time and stop the enemy from hitting you at all. Ultra Gohan, pretty much the same thing, but he's a bit more aggressive, you know, explosive green. He has endurance as well, which obviously protects him. Let's go into Sparkings now. Let's look at what's available here. Let's look at the blues first. So we got Bardock and Goku, very good option. Bomb Q is a very good option as well if you wanted to run him. Pan can be a good Zenkai buff. And we've also got Namek and Feet Q. A lot of people have been running him. This is the guy I wanted to talk about. Now on stream, I went through the top 25 players in ranked PvP in the world, and about maybe 15 of them were running Ultra Gohan, UI Goku, and this guy here. So this guy clearly has a lot of value if the top rankers are running him. You might want to copy one of the teams and look for it without just taking my my word for it, and then take all their equipments and everything is why you'd want to go on the leaderboards. You can look at their equipments, so you can build the team exactly how it is. But I tried to avoid equipments because equipments are basically based on how you want to play the game. Obviously there are some most optimal ones, but things can vary, and obviously it's super expensive to just grind equipment, so I wouldn't just straight out recommend it. But cool, going into greens now, we gotta look at the green options. I would say out of the green options, it's pretty much just Ultra Gohan. It's not that these options aren't like good. For example, I like using Rev Sign on a triple UI team, but that isn't really Son Family, you know. It's more like God Key Universe rep. But I guess if you wanted to run him, you could, but I wouldn't recommend running a green, if I'm being honest, if it's not Ultra Gohan. Same thing with purple, kind of. I wouldn't recommend using any purple, simply because it's just not one of the best colors that you could run if you're trying to use Son Family. Going into yellow, I already spoke about UI is pretty much your best option. I wouldn't recommend anybody else. It's really and truly, if you don't have the team I'm running and you don't have Bardock and Goku or Bomb Q, in like the highest ranks of PvP is not going to mix well. But against in reds, you kind of have some options. So Pan, Beast Gohan, they are two red options that you could put on the team. It would make the team kind of hybrid Saiyans, but that kind of mixes in with Son Family as well. But hybrid Saiyans could include Trunks, which is why it's a slightly different team. So if it's not Pan, Beast, Bomb Q, and Bardock and Goku, Son Family is pretty much going to look like this regardless of how you want to build it. Feet Q is an option as well. So I'd say just stick to this. If you wanted a HP buff, Raditz is available. I don't think Red Pan buffs Son Family. Is more so hybrid Saiyans or movies or something like that. So yeah, I'd stick to basically Raditz if you're running Ultra Gohan and leader slot. I think he's going to be the only hybrid Saiyan anyways. If you're running hybrids, then you have like a UI Goku on the leader slot, so maybe Beast and Ultra Gohan, then you'd switch out the HP buff for somebody else like Pan. But yeah, that's Son Family. They're going to be the number 2 team on this list. Very solid team. It will get you very far, and I do actually recommend using them. I like using them from time to time because it's just free wins, I'll be honest. We've now got the 3rd team for this video, and I labeled it LOE, but it's pretty much powerful opponent, and I'm gonna get into that. So this version of the team you can see is pretty much Lineage of Evil, because Goku and Frieza are not powerful opponent. They are just LOE because Frieza's on the team. So this team variation here is pretty much just LOE is why I want to point out. But if you wanted to turn it into powerful opponent, you pretty much take Goku and Frieza off, and then you put Nappa on the leader slot and it would work. You could also take Goku and Frieza off and put Super Baby 2 on the leader slot and work. You can do the same thing with Super 17, and you can also change things around completely to make another powerful opponent team, but I will show you that through this team. So first we're going to start with this Lineage of Evil build. We got here Ultra Golden Frieza on the leader slot, first form Frieza, Gold Frieza. Then you can see there is triple Zenkai buff for Ultra Golden Frieza. There's a double Zenkai buff for Gold Frieza. There's a triple Zenkai buff for first form Frieza if you include himself. And then Gold Frieza actually being Zenkai buffed 3 times as well because of Final Form Cooler. But you don't have to run him. You could run, I think, Turles. And I think he buffs powerful opponent. Where is he? There he is. You can run this guy here, and I think he buffs a powerful opponent, and then you can give another Zenkai buff to Ultra Golden Frieza as well. So it's pretty much up to you. The team is super juiced, super cheesy, and you know Ultra Golden Frieza is just running on a rampage. With the fact that he's also on the boost, he spawns greens, gets covered no, and he has his comeback ability, which is absurd. But let's look at the actual character options here. Let's start with the ultras, and I'll tell you what you can and can't use, and I'll show you also a lot of different variations, because there's a lot of variations that are being used in PvP of this team, which is super good, including the ones I already talked about at the start of this segment. So if we're looking at the ultras, Ultra Golden Frieza is going to be your main pick. I see some people try to run Janemba, and he does work if you have him maybe 10 stars. He is quite useful. Do not sleep on him. Although, if you don't have him, I'm not saying to chase him. He's not worth it to chase, but if you just already have him, you can get some use out of him. Ultra Kid Buu is a sleeper. At 14 stars, he can put in some work. I'm not even going to lie. I don't have him 14 stars, but I've run into some Ultra Kid Buus, and even my Kid Buu, when I juice him up with a kind of like a regen bench, but it's mostly powerful opponent anyways, it can also work. But yeah, let's go into the sparkings now. This is where it gets a bit different. So you could, on Lineage of Evil powerful opponents, you could also run this Revival Frieza. I'm not saying he's like a first choice option, but I've seen some people use him, and he can get a lot of use out if you don't have any of the new big units available in the game. Maybe you're saving, so you don't have a lot of options. But that would be your main blue option, I'd say. If we're looking at the greens are pretty stinky. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't recommend running any of the green options. Just avoid them. Green doesn't fit on powerful opponent in its meta, unfortunately, unless you wanted to like lead a slot Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, which a lot of people do. Let's look at purple now. Purple, they've got purple Jiren. I've been using Hellfire 17 on androids, so I feel like he could have a place on powerful opponents, but I wouldn't say he's even a first, second, or third option, because Golden Frieza exists, First Form Frieza exists. I already just spoke about Jiren right there, so you can see there's a lot of options. If you have this Cell decently starred as well, he could also have a place on the team over Hellfire 17, just showing you what's available. Purple is pretty stacked, I'm not going to lie, it's crazy, which is why everyone's feeding off the Zenkai buffs. Cool. We also got Nappa here. I keep forgetting about them because I don't have the unit. This is a unit that is really taken over that mono purple on Frieza Force type thing. And I'm not really going to include Frieza Force as an individual team because it's pretty much powerful opponent at the same time. So if you put Nappa and Vegeta on the leader slot, you leave the rest as Frieza Force or LOE. It's pretty much the same thing. They feed off similar Zenkai buffs. It works. So very solid option here. I'm not going to lie. A lot of people have been using them, especially in the highest ranks. I'm talking top 25 on the leaderboards in ranked PvP. The top rankers in the world are using them. So keep that in mind. And then if you want to run Red Cell here, he's a Zenkai buff. You could obviously use Super 17. Where is he? Super 17, my glorious king, so toxic, but of course he's a super good unit as well. You're Zenkai buffing him. Then if you wanted to switch up the team, you could Zenkai buff him accordingly, which I'll just show you right now. So if I go to my party formation, right, what I would do, I'd press Super 17, put him there, I'd press Cell, put him there, and then you could just change the bench up accordingly to how you wanted to play. So you could go ahead and buff Golden Frieza, or you could play it so that you're buffing Super 17. So Super 17's got 1 Zenkai buff. Fusion 13, now he's got 2. 8 Vegeta, now he's got 3 powerful opponent. And then if I could add another one, it'd be Omega Shenron. Now he's got 4. You know, he's eaten. But then you could mix it between Golden Frieza as well by putting what would you call it, Jiren. He's at the top. You could put Jiren there and it would work the same way. Then I've seen some people also put Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, but then leave Super 17 4 times Zenkai buffed, which is crazy by the way, but you can see why that works. So that's another variation of powerful opponent. So this is like powerful opponent slash LOE, and it's quite crazy how many options they've got. Powerful opponents really took over the game. It's a clear sweep. So yeah, that's pretty much it for LOE. It's like LOE, Frieza Force, and powerful opponent, 3 teams that basically cross paths into one. It's actually such an absurd tag. But of course, I could have just made them 3 separate teams, but I feel like that's overwhelmingly wasting space because it comes under one tag regardless, no matter how you kind of cross it over with like one discrepancy, you know? So yeah, that's LOE, powerful opponent, Frieza Force, all 3 under one roof. Number 4 on this list, we got androids. Similar to powerful opponents, this is literally powerful opponent, but the difference is the pure equips really make the difference. And I want to show you some units that won't fit on powerful opponents that you could fit on this team. So I've got Hellfire 17 and I only use him because I like his lock-in on the main ability. I also like that he's able to nullify endurance off of a green card. So those two things really just put the icing on the cake for me, but of course he's not the best option. There's also the fact that he's a super good healer. I believe at 150 timer counts, he's going to heal a bunch, which is super good. But I've got him 1 time Zenkai buffed and he's also being Zenkai buffed by the HP buffer, which makes the team work. Then we've got 3 Zenkai buffs for Super 17, and then we've got 3 Zenkai buffs if you include Cell himself for Revival Cell, and the Revival layer is obviously super useful to keep you alive. Cell spawns green cards off his main ability pre-revival. He can turn that green card into a blue card, and post-revival he turns his main ability creates a blue card, which is obviously useful. Those can all be used for Super 17 and also Hellfire 17 depending on how you wanted to go about it. But this isn't the only Android team that you could run, so let's look at the other options available. So I'm gonna go to my character list and we're gonna start with ultras, but just so you know, there is none. So yeah, let's go into sparkings now. Looking at the blue options, MVP 17 is a very good option. He actually allows you to not get paralyzed, faint, anything like that, because he obviously cancels buffs, so your team will kind of become immune to it. But he's also good in output in blast attack. Specifically, blast attack is how you want to run androids. They do so much blast attack, it's crazy. But yeah, MVP, he just doesn't have a good Zenkai buff, which is unfortunate, but if he did, he would be so much more relevant on the team in my opinion. Cool, let's go into green. Green, if you're going to run anybody, I'd recommend running Android 16. I'm not saying you have to, but if anybody, I'd say it's going to be him. He would be a good option, and he also has a Zenkai buff available in the game. So yeah, Android 16 here, even though the Z ability isn't the best, the Zenkai buff is a Zenkai buff, you know? Cool. Going into purple, I was using Android 17, Hellfire 17, but if you have him high stars, Cell would be a way better option, because when he dies, obviously he has the AoE damage that he does and the extra annoyances that kick in for the enemy, but he can also do long damage, a lot of damage, long combos, and he obviously has his explosive green, which is annoying. Now the unit I want to speak about is the Gammas. Now if you have them high stars, and I wish really right now I had them high stars, because having a yellow is super important, especially with all the purples running around. If you have the Gammas at 9 stars, run them on androids. This unit here, although they don't give you any protection, they also have a good Zenkai buffer, I believe, which would be the Cell over here. So if I look over here, yeah, androids, it works on the team. Even though his Z ability is strike based, they give the Gammas a Zenkai buff, you'll be able to actually cook up a lot of these purples, especially because the pure equips on androids are super good, and I believe it gives special move damage. The Gammas can eat off that big time, but of course only if you have them high stars. I have to emphasize, only if you have them high stars. If you don't even think about it, you will get cooked. And I already showed you on the reds, Cell and Super 17, they're going to be your only options, but that pretty much makes it for the androids. Nothing pretty much changes. I think as well, if you wanted to run the Gammas, it just came to my head, there's an EX that has a Zenkai buff, but he's also a HP buffer, I think. First form Cell, let me just check that. So Zenkai buffs android, pretty crappy, but it's blast attack. Then you also get HP, so if you don't want to lose out on the HP, you can give the Gammas that, which is another option. So yeah, that's going to be it for androids. Androids is a super good team. I use them all the time. They just lack maybe the cover changes, but the Gammas could add one more cover change, because right now I'm only got Super 17 that has a strike cover change, so that's kind of tough. But yeah, number 4 on this list, we got androids. Right, so this is going to be the last team of the video, and there's going to be no honorable mentions, because if we're being real, powerful opponents took up 3 slots. They took up powerful opponent, Freezer Force, and Lineage of Evil all under one roof, so there's no real need for honorable mentions. But I will mention some teams, just not going to go through them as I normally would. We got GT here anyways. GT, it's only making the top 5 if you're running Super Baby 2. If you're not running Super Baby 2, the team is lackluster. It's missing something. And even though they got a lot of buffs in this early year, Super Baby 2 is really that missing defensive wall that makes the team what it is. The team, it's meant to have good offenses, but most of their units have come off the boost now, so they don't have the high damage that they did. Most of the units have defensive Z abilities, so the team relies on its defenses. But if the defenses aren't even crazy, you're not even excelling in the main thing that you're good at. Imagine training in one department and then somebody's still better than you, right? Which is crazy, right? Which is why you have to have Super Baby 2. So if you don't even bother running this team, in my opinion. You'd pretty much just be waiting until they drop that, or hopefully drop that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. But cool, let's look at the pieces here. We got Super 17 leader slot, we got Plan, She's GT, but she's Zenkai buffing Bomku. Then the missing space there should be Super Baby 2. Then we got EX GT Goku because he's going to be a HP buffer. Then we got Omega Shenron, who's also obviously also GT, Zenkai buffing Super 17. If I go to my character list, I show you the ultras, but as you know, there is only one, a trash one. But yeah, cool. If we go into the Sparkings now, blue, you want to be running Bomku, nobody else. You can Zenkai buff him through Pan, and you can Zenkai buff him through Super Baby 2 as well over here. But I'd recommend using Pan. That's just my preference. I think because Super Baby 2, his Z ability is defensive, and I'm not really... I want the damage. I want the damage. That's just me. Especially if you have decent stars, you want the damage. Going into greens, G4 is an option obviously, but he doesn't do anything besides from bring out an ultimate, and really and truly having no protection, it's not worth using him. You will just get rushed regardless, and with all the purples, he's not exactly safe, so I'd say avoid it. Green in general, avoid it. Going into purple, you can use Bulla and Bulla and Vegeta. I was gonna say Bulla and Pan. Bulla and Vegeta, good support unit for your team. Purple is obviously a safe element outside of like Super Baby 2 and UI, so you could actually put in some work with the unit, not going to lie, do not sleep on them. Yellow, Super Baby 2 of course, if you're not running him, don't run it yellow. And then red must be Super 17. GT don't have many pieces, so it's pretty quick, but you can see how valuable Super Baby 2 can be when there's so many purples in the game. And reds, I'm not saying they're phasing out, but Beast, you'll see him quite a bit, I'm not going to lie, but you only see Super 17 if it's around Cell, but the purples can pretty much handle that. So yeah, Bomku, there's a lot of Bomku is a good option for blue to counter the reds as well, and there's a lot of blues anyways like Bardock and Goku as well, so, and they get Zenkai buff to the moon. So yeah, that's gonna be GT, the last team for this video. If I was giving my own opinion, I'd say it's the weakest team, and other teams I was kind of contemplating putting in but I didn't. Fusion Warriors, but I think GT just better with Super Baby 2. And Hybrid Saiyans, but I only didn't put Hybrid Saiyans in simply because it's basically Son family. Hybrid Saiyans doesn't run any Vegeta clan units. You could run Heat Dome Trunks, but let's be real, it would just be better if you run a Son family orientation of it with Ultra Gohan, Pan, and Beast. So yeah, that's GT, the 5th team for this video. But yeah, man, that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, man. Took me a bit of work to think out what teams I want to put over other teams, but I really just kind of cheesed it by putting Powerful Opponent, Frieza Force, and Lineage of Evil all under one roof. Let me know what you guys think about Nappa and Vegeta. I think they were a good addition to the game, outside of the fact that people have the natural PTSD that Vegeta clan units are always going to stink. But I think the unit's done a pretty good job. They fit a pretty valuable tag, Powerful Opponent, and they also work with Frieza Force, so they're gonna have a bit of life, I'm not going to lie. And them naturally just being a revival unit gives them stock, and you know how the developers treat revival units. They treat them like they're the most glorious thing in the whole game. Having 2 lives is obviously super valuable anyways. But of course, if you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button, man. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.